For the most part, the Princess and I choose to cruise during the winter. Living in the northeastern United States, there's nothing better than trading the cold and snow for the sunny Caribbean. Although, as we've begun to travel more often, we have undoubtedly begun cruising during what is typically referred to as hurricane season. In fact, our first attempt at sailing at this time of year was a family vacation on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas in 2015. Well, a hurricane and a tropical storm later, along with 2 itinerary changes, we learned a thing or two about cruising during this time of year. I'm DB from eatsleepcruise.com, and in this video we share our 9 things you need to know to survive during cruise hurricane season. For the Atlantic and the Caribbean, hurricane season runs from mid-June through mid-November. Lately, early hurricanes have been rare, with the Eastern Caribbean more prone to be hit by hurricanes around August to early September. In contrast, the Western Caribbean is more likely to experience hurricanes later in the season, say late September through the end of October. Hurricanes are also possible in the Pacific Ocean. These storms can affect both Mexican Riviera cruises and Hawaiian cruises during the same time periods. One benefit of cruising during hurricane season is the potential to take advantage of some discounted pricing and special promotions. Cruise companies know that travelers are a bit apprehensive about sailing around this time of year. So cruise fares are sometimes lowered, or cruise promotions, including kids sail free, tend to be more plentiful. Many travel agents also run specials or other perks to get travelers to book a cruise during some of these months. Such specials are often run during peak hurricane times. You can usually take advantage of these lower prices, even when booking well in advance. While hurricane prediction is not an exact science, modern technology provides the weather service and cruise lines plenty of advance warning about potential storms and the expected areas of impact. It is rare that a cruise during hurricane season is canceled completely, but that's not impossible. Most likely, cruise ships will usually sail around storms. Still, it is advised to buy travel insurance for other potential travel delays. For instance, situations in which your hometown is impacted by a storm, but not the cruise ports themselves. Cruise ships may also be delayed arriving into port, which might make your trip a bit shortened or lengthened. If your cruise is shortened or significantly altered, the cruise line will most likely provide some form of compensation. The cruise lines will do everything within their power to ensure the vessel cruising during hurricane season departs. Still, there are no guarantees about your travel to and from the cruise port being affected by bad weather. If you're driving to the port, staying up to date on any weather, both pre-cruise and post-cruise, is essential. When it comes to your flights, you'll be on your own if the storm leads to flight delays or cancellations. Again, this is why we highly recommend travel insurance. A good travel insurance policy will help defray the costs that you could incur if a hurricane impacts your travel plans to and from the cruise terminal. Additionally, we always recommend traveling a day ahead of time and spending a pre-cruise day in the departure port. This extra day allows more buffer time just in case there are any travel issues. If there is a potential for the impact of a hurricane within the region you're sailing, your cruise ship may alter the route or change the itinerary. For our cruise, the path of Hurricane Danny was heading straight for the Leeward Islands. We were informed the day before our cruise of an itinerary change. With a second storm in the region announced a few days later, our itinerary was changed again to a completely new itinerary that stayed mostly in the Southern Caribbean. Depending on the storm's path, it is possible that an Eastern Caribbean itinerary could be switched to the Western Caribbean or vice versa. These changes are not uncommon, so the crew and staff are normally prepared, especially during this time of year. When cruising during hurricane season, cruisers need to have an open mind and be willing to roll with whatever Mother Nature and the cruise lines throw their way. The best made plans can very easily come undone. For our Adventure of the Seas cruise, we spent months planning and picking the perfect shore excursions for each island. All that planning was essentially thrown out the window. Once on board, we waited in line at the shore excursions desk with every other passenger. Knowing this ahead of time, you can be prepared and still enjoy your cruise. After all, you are still on vacation. When booking a tour with the cruise company, you're ensured that any canceled tours will be refunded. In our case, we had originally booked only one shore excursion with the cruise company. Another tour was booked directly with a local tour operator. And finally, 2 other tours were reserved through a third-party shore excursion company. After our first change of plans, we rebooked all excursions with the cruise company as we did not have the time to search for other options. If you book tours privately, be sure to check the tour company's policies. We recommend only purchasing tours from companies that offer refunds if your ship misses the port. Our third-party vendor required that we call to request a refund. We received our credit in the mail within 2 weeks without any issues. While ships can elude the worst of a storm, your cruise ship might not be able to totally avoid the weather pattern. With unexpected 2 storms in 1 week, we were able to stay clear of the storms for the majority of our cruise. However, the ship did not completely evade the second storm on our return trip to Puerto Rico. This meant that the 6 beautiful days of sun and 90-degree weather ended on a lasty day with heavy rains, wind, and some rather crowded indoor venues. Our cruise line was quick to respond to the situation by offering extra activities and shows. The cruise line also changed the location of some events to accommodate the larger crowds. If the rain, wind, and rocky seas are not completely avoidable when you cruise during hurricane season, don't worry, as there'll still be plenty of things to do on the ship. The Princess is known to be quite a bit of an overpacker, and unfortunately, some of her traits have worn off on me. Although, when you cruise during hurricane season, it's not a bad idea to pack a few additional items in case of unforeseen changes. Luckily, we were prepared for the swaps in our shore excursions with the necessary outfits. However, sometimes Bermuda cruises can actually swap itineraries for Canada and New England cruises, so it's always helpful to be prepared. Additional things you should pack for any cruise, but even more importantly during hurricane season, are a lightweight raincoat and extra layers. You never know when they'll come in handy. And there you have it. Those are our 9 things you need to know to survive cruise hurricane season. But of course, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know your tips for cruising during this time of year in the comment section below. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com, and if you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure to check the notification icon and go ahead and subscribe. That way you're updated whenever we put out brand new videos. You can also find us all over social media at Eat Sleep Cruise, and thanks again for watching.